Hello, Susanda.
Hi, Alexa.
It's so great to chat to you today. Now, I know you as a multilingual activist, but besides being a lecturer and researcher at CPUT, you also spent a great deal of your time and your career as a journalist. How has that influenced your teaching?
Thanks, Alexa. So I joined CPUT in 2017 after having worked as a journalist for about 7 years. And what I realized while I was working as a journalist is the centrality of language in journalism. So you go out and you do stories and you speak to people who speak different languages. But at the end of the day, the news that is produced is primarily in English. And I saw that we are missing out on rich stories because we are not really doing multilingual journalism. So I had that at the back of my mind when I became a lecturer, that one of the things I want to do is to change the thinking around journalism as a field and as a discipline to make my students realize how important language is. And so when they go out, it's not just about writing good stories, but it's about speaking to people in the languages they speak. And I also realized that even for journalists themselves, because we are South Africans, we are multilingual, and yet we limit ourselves to thinking good journalism is primarily in English. When we express ourselves in our mother tongues, we are able to produce much richer journalism. So that is what has driven me. And it's as I've worked in education, I've realized it's not just journalism. Whether you are in health, whether you are even in engineering, the people that you interact with in this country are bound to be multilingual. So you need to bring that into the profession that you're in. And that is what makes me so interested in multilingual education.
And that's what makes me so interested in you and your work. And you mentioned health now, and we are in the middle of a global pandemic. What has your experiences been in terms of your research in this current context?
So, what I noticed, I started doing research on multilingualism in about 2019, where my first study looked at how students experience multilingual teaching and learning. In 2018, pardon me, in 2019, I looked at multilingualism and epistemic access. And then in 2020, what I realized is even though I am passionate about multilingual education, my use of multilingual pedagogies really declined. And as I reflected on this personally, I spoke to other academics that I know use multilingual pedagogies, and it seemed that that was a phenomenon that we all experienced. So I then did my latest study, which looks at the experiences of educators using multilingual pedagogies during the pandemic. And it gives them a chance to reflect on what worked and what didn't work. And I think one of the sad realities is because multilingualism wasn't prioritized with the emergency remote teaching, so many opportunities were lost. And I think if we continue in this vein, when we move to online teaching, we will lose a lot of the gains we've already made when it comes to teaching multilingually in higher education.
So, what would you recommend institutions do?
So, based on the findings that have emerged from the study, one of the central things is the localization of learner management systems, such as the Blackboard that we use at CPUT. Other entities use Moodle, others use Vula. And localizing these platforms means bringing in different languages, bringing in features that will make them culturally relevant. But I'll just speak to the languages aspect. So, one of my participants, for example, was reflecting on how he teaches in English and Sepedi. And because Blackboard does not have characters that one
Goodness.
uses when writing in Sepedi, his students cannot write sound academic work in that language. And if we continue in this vein, we are compromising the
Right.
quality of, the work students are doing in indigenous languages. So one of the big things is localization of learner management systems, and then the development of resources. Academics who are doing multilingual work need space to develop multilingual resources because there's a huge gap online. And again, you're then being forced to compromise to bring in English resources because you can't find resources that are multilingual for your course online.
Sisanda, thank you so much for the work that you're doing. I wish you everything of the best and may you continue with this activism.
Thank you very much, Alexa, for the opportunity. And thank you so much to Fundani that has been so supportive over the years. I wouldn't be able to do this work without you.